that's what really. Okay, you shouldn't have said that. This is another. You just opened up another one. You just opened up another one. Guess what?
I just stopped myself.
Okay, I'm sitting here, and people don't realize. They just see this little area right here. This console right here is 1, 2, 3, 4 computers, right? My mixer, another computer right here. And then over here, I have a duplicate over here as for backup. Because if something goes down with one of my servers here, rather than having to sit there and whatever to do, or if a computer goes down, I can just sit my ass right over there, and do the show right over there. Or if I ever have a guest, which I occasionally do, they come in the studio, they sit over there, and I can run it all on this mixer or that mixer or whatever. I got all this wired up. And here's what I'm getting the point at, okay? I went to school to become a DJ originally. I was trained by John Maynard and Charlie Brown, which were back in those days, those two were one of the top DJs in the Northwest. That includes California, you name it. They were up there as one top, in their field. And they opened up a broadcast training school, which they only accepted 4 people at a time. And they worked and mentored you. I mean, you go down there, and if they had to spend 4 or 5 hours with you doing your show, they had a little studio, a little transmitter. It transmitted, it was downtown Seattle by the ferry terminal. You could hear it maybe 1,000 feet away. But they taught you how to read commercials, how to be a DJ or do news and all that stuff. And I want to thank them because I put in a lot of work to get where I was at. And, it would,
right.
What really, and I don't want this to sound bad, okay? But a lot of people nowadays, because of the internet, they know nothing what's involved in doing a show, okay? They don't know what it takes and equipment that halfway sounds good. So they go down to Walmart, right, and drop $25 or $15 for a USB microphone, and they plug it in their freaking computer, right? And now they are a talk show host.
Well, some of them don't even go that far. They just use the phone.
Yeah, they use the phone, okay? But you know what? They do. But that's not the issue. Okay.
I know the issue is they didn't put in the time, the blood, and the sweat,
not
and the
just that.
Money, and the education, and everything else.
Well, you know what I do? Every guest that comes on, okay, if they wrote a book, I read the beginning of the book, the middle of the book, and the end of the book because I don't have the time to read the whole book. But I read their books. They write. Or I can ask them questions. I have them send me their bio. I read it all. So I know what type of questions, to make the show interesting and what to ask. And, my whole life, okay, has been involved in paranormal radio. Back in 76, that's what instead of doing with the first radio station, I was supposed to be playing top 40. Well, by the time I moved there and walked in there, all of a sudden it was now we're talk radio news. Oh, my God, I was never trained for that. But I caught on fairly fast. And I make a point of trying to be well versed in the paranormal. And if I don't know something, I find out. What I hate is these people who do these, radio shows with their $25 microphone. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're sitting there drinking, which I'm doing right now, and I don't supposed to, but we're not on the air. We're on Facebook Live, so I can get away with that. But, they're sitting there eating, right? and like the one guy, his name has a Z in it, will be sitting there, with his wife chomping food next to him. We're walking by with a plate of food, and he's doing a show. And I'm going, oh, my God, how unprofessional. Okay, guys, if you're going to do a Facebook Live show, put a clean shirt on. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, but the point is, a lot of people, if you go on the internet, there's thousands of shows, and if you listen to them, it just really offends me because I have worked hard my whole adult life to do a good radio show.
Right. And then
okay, wait a minute. Either you're in the bathroom peeing or you're pouring something. What are you doing?
Oh, I poured a little bit of pop in my cup. You can hear that? Oh, my God. I can't believe you heard that.
Well, that's okay. I'm drinking my soda. It's one. I used to have a talk show host.
Your fault, dang it. You're pouring your soda, so I'm going to put a little bit of pop in my drink here.
I was supposed to be on a diet, okay? I was doing really good to January 8th when I had my birthday. I lost like 35 pounds. I was doing good. Guess what? My wife comes home for my birthday with a lemon meringue pie, a half a gallon of vanilla ice cream, and a 2-liter root beer, and a whole bunch of other stuff for my birthday. And I'm going, I'm on a diet. And, that's like being a drug addict and somebody giving you heroin and the needle, okay? And it just killed it. And I got to get back to trying to lose weight. It's not healthy. And it's,
At least she didn't give you the old Three Stooges and throw the pie in your face. I can't believe your mic picked up, or my whatever picked up me pouring that pop in my cup. That's
what I was going to also say, one of the talk show hosts, I actually canned over it. He never prepared for his show, and one of the guests on it evidently didn't explain what's involved being a guest, right? So he's interviewing this guest. The guy, is talking. The next thing you know, he's peeing and flushing the toilet while he's talking. And that was the end of the guy's show because,
Oh, wow.
You don't go in the bathroom and, pee and do a talk show.
No. I feel stupid that my pop was being heard poured in a cup. And it was about 3 feet away from the phone, too. Wow.
Hey, Eric Cooper from S4 Radio is watching me on Facebook. Eric, I love hearing your show. By the way, you can find his show on speaker, S4 Radio, or you find him on Night Dreams Talk Radio on Saturdays now. It used to be Sunday, but Saturday at 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. He's expanded it from a 2-hour show to 3-hour show. I recommend, if you're into the paranormal, they talk about UFOs. They talk about, ghost hunting. They talk about, survival and all this interesting stuff on his show. It's a round table. I suggest you tune into it on Saturdays. You'll be glad you did. But, that's what frustrates me, okay, is the people who don't want to put the effort into a show. So, I'm not knocking all these thousands of shows on the internet, okay? I mean, God, it's a free country, and the internet has opened it up where you can do any type of show. Just go buy a $15 microphone and plug it in. But what really frustrates me is when you get people that don't know what they're talking about or whatever, and it just, I don't know, I'm old school, and it just upsets me.
Well, even my little show, my guest, if I don't know them or they're not my friends, I'm going to research and try to, get some information on them so I know what questions to ask or whatnot, or, what I mean, or what they've done or what they're going to do. Because I don't know all my guests on my show. They're not all my friends. I mean, so, I spend a week researching, try to put together that and make sure that it's not fake news to the best of my ability.
Oh, come on!
More input than just
all the networks, all the remaining newspapers, okay, which is not that many anymore. It's all fake. Don't you realize everything you read and hear, including my show, is all fake? And then I'm going to flip the coin on the other side. Everything you hear from Washington, D.C. is fake. So who do you believe?
I know. Who do you believe? The best way I do is if I hear, what I've been doing? If I see a news story that's in a surrounding state, because I try to usually get something close to where I'm at, or not all the time, but so if I know somebody that lives maybe within a few counties, I'll try to call one of my friends and say, hey, what did you hear about that? Is this true? Try to skip the news part of it because I don't know. That's like playing roulette.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know.
But one thing, people, when I start talking about the tariffs, okay, people were sending me messages, emailing me like mad, saying I didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, at the beginning when they're putting their tariffs on, I said, it's not going to create jobs in this country like we're being told. It's actually going to cause companies to lay off, Hey, yeah. Hey, you look at the job statistics, it actually is kind of starting to go downhill now. But for a while, it was going up really high. But they don't tell you that those jobs, a lot of them are only part-time jobs. And they're working at like McDonald's or Burger King's or Denny's where American goes to eat. They don't tell you that. And, like I was mentioning on my show, I did chat with a guy who was over, I think, in Georgia. He was one of the last companies that made TVs in the United States. God, I thought 25 years ago, Curtis Matthews, when they went out of business, I thought they were the last company making TVs in the United States. Well, here's this guy, he had like 100 employees. He had to wrap up his business because, the tariffs, he couldn't survive. And there's a lot of companies like that. A friend of mine up here in Gig Harbor, Washington, owns a chain of auto parts stores. The same thing is happening to him, that people need a caliper for their car, right? Or a rotor. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You go buy a rotor for like a 2008 Scion, for example, and the American version one is like $300 and some dollars. The one made in China is like $69. I mean, a lot of people don't have the $300 and some dollars. Well, the problem is now he's saying he can't get a lot of these Chinese parts anymore. And his business is going down because people don't want to spend the $300 and some dollars. It's a ripple effect. So I talked about that. People told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Then a couple months later, instead of getting those emails saying, hey, Gary, you don't know what you're talking about, is, hey, Gary, you were right. Then I was warning people when our president came up with, hey, let's take out less money for taxes, right, out of your paychecks, for you have more money to live on. Now, how many people in the United States are middle class or whatever that is anymore, or make a little bit less than that, right? So during the year, they have medical bills or their car breaks down, right? Or something happens, the refrigerator goes out or the furnace goes out. Guess what? They go use their credit cards, right? And they max out their credit cards, to pay for all these doctor bills or all these bills, right?
Yeah.
So they are waiting to get their tax refund check because that's how they pay off the debt during the year, right? Or the poor suckers go out and take payday loans at 300 and some percent, and they're, floating from paycheck to paycheck, and then they pay it off when they get their refund check. Well, now people are starting to scream because either their refunds are smaller, and it's not just 8% smaller like you keep reading. It's quite a bit more than that because I've talked to people. Or it's the other, okay? They owe the IRS money this year. Well, they were expecting maybe to get back $1,300, $1,400. Now they have to pay the IRS $1,300, $1,400 because also some of the exemptions we had are gone. So, I mean, now, and if you only, say, you paid in, I think it was like 85%, okay? If you paid less than that, now, besides owing the money, the IRS is now going to say, oh, you failed to pay penalty, and they hit you like, the interest and all that stuff. So now you even owe more money. So all this money that you thought you were getting all year long, you were screwed. It's simple.
Yeah, and that's a trick on words because they say refund, but really it's not a refund. It's your money that they played with to use as what do you call? I can't even think of the word now. They use it to play with to build interest on to make money with. Then they fancy the words around and say it's a refund. I'm going to give it back to you. It was your money to begin with that they played with.
Yeah,
it wasn't a refund. It's not like it's a trick of words, really, if you think about it. It's not a refund. It's your money to begin with.
Well, think about this, right? You owe the IRS money, right? Well, when you go to pay it back, they charge you interest, don't they?
Daily.
Why aren't they giving people interest, okay, with their refund check?
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the money they've got your money to play with because